Let's hear a song by Swamiji and then a very brief excerpt from a talk by Swamiji on this topic, God as the Doer. Welcome again, friends.
In India there lived by the banks of a stream a hermit whose prayers chose applause for their theme. He gazed at the flowers and he smiled at the sun. Then he clapped with delight, Lord, he cried, oh, well done. Well done, Lord, oh, very well done. The mountains that laugh with the gypsy clouds, the fields smile to welcome the sun. All nature sings praises aloud. The fields smile to welcome the sun. All nature sings praises aloud. The trees dance to show their elation. A day on God's earth has begun. And every true heart in creation in speechless wonder is bowed. And every true heart in creation in speechless wonder is bowed. Well done, Lord, oh very well done. The joy that you've planted in children's hearts, the thrill known in bearing a son, the hope when a trial departs. The thrill known in bearing a son, the hope when a trial departs. The gladness of men in their neighbors, of youth in its victories won. Our joys are the proof of your labors. How wonderful, Lord, are your arts. Our joys are the proof of your labors. How wonderful, Lord, are your arts. Well done, Lord, oh, very well done. At last I discovered the mystic key. The world's joy, oh secretive one, replies to your sweetness in me. The world's joy, oh secretive one, replies to your sweetness in me. For here in my heart lies the answer, your love shedding light like the sun. All life seems to leap like a dancer, when gazing I see only thee. All life seems to leap like a dancer, when gazing I see only thee.
Om Triyambakam Yajamahe Sagandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Offer everything that you are into the infinite fire. This is the true meaning of yajna. I bow to that one in you who someday will be freed of everything and will realize that you and the immortal Atman are one. That is your destiny. That is all our destiny. And the joy of knowing that all the suffering we have to go through is all just a dream. You know, a very interesting thing, because people think, oh, why is God so cruel? Why does he allow so much suffering? Why have I suffered so much? The answer to that is that there isn't anyone who has ever found God who hasn't reckoned it the most wonderful thing in the world, the most wonderful romance, the most incredibly beautiful story. No one has ever come out of Samadhi and said, what a scam. They've all been just filled with a joy that made all the suffering worth it. And when you think how people can suffer and do suffer in this world, that's quite a statement, isn't it? And yet in that state, it all ceases to be, and you remember it, but you know that it was worth it. Every pain was just to push you in the right direction. Sometimes you need to be beaten in that direction, sometimes a little nudge. But all of it is to help you to realize, no, this isn't the direction, that is. It takes a long time. Unfortunately, a very long time. But once you reach there, time ceases to exist. And it could have been many billions of years. It could have been days of Brahma. Even so, once you reach there, it's as if it had never been. It is worth it, dear ones. It is worth it. Don't hesitate to take up your sword of discrimination and slash through all the barriers that stand in your way. People say, oh, it's difficult. Well, just think of a soldier on the battlefield. Let's say they were fighting with swords. And somebody says, oh, you hit me. For heaven's sake, that's what it's all about. You're doing battle. That's why the Bhagavad Gita is set on the battlefield. The battlefield of Kurukshetra is the battlefield that all of us are in. And we have to do battle on the side of our good qualities against our bad qualities. You can't just, it's a silly thing to say it's hard. Of course it's hard. A soldier's lot is a hard one, and it's a perfect allegory to speak of it as a fight, because it is a fight to the death between the good qualities and the bad.
I'd like to start today with a brief reading from the book of stories from Master's nephew, Hare Krishna Ghosh. Early in the morning, we boarded a big steamship along with hundreds of pilgrims from all over India. After sailing 40 miles by the river Ganges, where the river was very wide and the two sides of the shore could be seen faintly, suddenly we found the ship was going down, 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 little by little into the waters, and the waters were coming up on the decks of the ship. All this, all the pilgrims were frightened and running all over the decks, all with fear. Even the captain of the ship was afraid. Many pilgrims, seeing our Guruji, master, clad in a saffron-colored robe, came running to him and requested him to save their lives. Guruji said, "Be calm, don't worry, and don't run out of fear. Everything will be all right. Sit down where you are and pray to God for your lives." So the pilgrims became calm and began to pray to God. After some 5 or 10 minutes, we found the waters of the river went down from the decks and the ship came out of the water to its normal level. Then again, the pilgrims came to Guruji and said, "Guruji, you have saved our lives." But Guruji said, "No, I have not saved your lives. You prayed to God, and so God has saved all of our lives." This is such a beautiful story and so important to remember in our daily lives, that behind everything, every inspiration, every protection, every healing, everything that we do in our lives that we feel good about, oh, I did this, well, I did that, it was always God's power behind everything. I remember many times with Swamiji, he would, after a talk he would give, he would greet people, and many of us would say, "Oh, Swamiji, that was a wonderful talk. God is the doer." He would point up like this. And with books he would write, we would say, "Oh, Swamiji, this is so wonderful. God wrote this book. Master wrote this book through me." And with his music, he wrote so many pieces of music, as many of you know. And he would say, "I asked God to give me this music. It's not my music, it's God's music." And for all of us to remember that that's so important. You get so much more as an open receptive and attuned channel for God, rather than limiting yourself, your own thoughts, your own, this is my idea, it's my inspiration, it's my work. It just doesn't work. Remember once Master said to Rajasi, don't forget where your power comes from. And Rajasi said, Janakananda, he said, I won't, Master, I know it comes from you. And once Swamiji felt proud of something that he did, Master asked him to work on a particular quality, and he felt he was finally developing that quality, and he felt proud. And he heard later that Master had said to some of the disciples, while Swamiji wasn't there, look how I have changed, Walter. And we have to realize that, yes, it's God's power that makes the change, God's power that pushes us forwards, God's power that gives us the inspiration. I know you must have felt, I felt so many times, whose ideas are these? Whose thoughts are these? Whose inspiration are these? If you're teaching yoga or you're teaching a meditation class or whatever class, whose ideas are they? Are they really yours? And so it comes from the divine, but also we have to put our self-effort into it. We can't say, well, all is Ram, all is God, everything God will do it. I just sit back and I do nothing. We have to put out the self-effort. I remember one time, this may help some of you, before I came to Ananda 100%, I had several wonderful positions at working with the Big Sisters program and another social service program. I enjoyed them quite a lot, but there was a moment when I thought, I think I've had enough. Master was calling me, and I knew I should be fully with Ananda. But I didn't sit back and say, well, God is the doer, he'll help me get out, and he'll arrange for a new job. I worked hard to get out of that job. I planned for a whole year to pay off all my debts from the college and everything. And up to the very last moment, I kept going to that job, paying off the bills, and then I was free. Now, God was the doer, but I had to put my efforts into it. I remember a similar time, this was here in India, when we had an opportunity to get a very nice property in Gurgaon. Many of you from Gurgaon will remember. It was a beautiful site, and it was a wonderful blessing and opportunity that we would get that. Then we would build a center, and that train was going really fast, and it was happening. We took people out to the property and showed them and made plans and brought someone even over from America, an architect, to help us. And then suddenly one day that project was off the table. That opportunity just vanished. And I thought, oh my God, what happened? But it just wasn't possible anymore. The person who was offering that said it's not possible anymore. So that night I remember I just was in my bed and I just thought, God, what? That's a terrible thing that we're not going to get the property. And I felt so badly about it. But then I thought, well, Divine Mother has something else in mind. And I just kept putting out positive thoughts as best as I could. The very next day, I went to Delhi and I met two people, one who was the person responsible for the property and another person, one of our members. Within 1 hour, we had another place. And it's the place that we have now. Now, so you can't sit back and hope. You have to just keep, in that hour, we were churning the ether to make that happen. And so this place came up. And I was thinking about the Temple of Light and America. And the people, the builders, I was there, a couple of years back when they were talking about it. And they said every day we would come, we would sit here on the site and we would pray and we would tune in to the guidance of God and gurus. And every day they would meditate, they would tune in, and then they would build. And their inspiration came from that. All doors open for them to get that place built properly, to get all the whatever they needed, the permissions to be able to open it on time, because they cooperated with God's grace, with God's energy. And that's something that as we do that, we find that, yes, Divine Mother is there helping and making things happen. And how do we do this? We put out energy, will. Master said, the greater the will, greater the flow of energy. And also, I will reason, I will, I will act, but guide thou my reason, will, and activity. And I was recalling a very sweet story of Swami Kriyananda ji when he was feeling, because Master said, always feel it's God serving, speaking through you, whatever. And so Swamiji one day was giving a lecture, and this was while he was with Master. And he said, well, Master said not to, just to feel it's God flowing through us. And so he just, in the middle of the lecture, he stopped talking. And he waited for God to talk, and he waited for God to do something, he waited for God. Then he realized he had to put out energy. He couldn't be passive, he had to speak. But as he spoke, he felt that power of God. And to close, Master sometimes showed miracles to people, just to bring them more clearly in focus that it was God's power behind everything. And at one time, he was in Encinitas, and there's a beach there called Swami's Beach, right near the Encinitas, right in front of the Encinitas temple. And when Master was there, he would like to walk along the beach there and just enjoy it. And often he would see fishermen there. And one time he was walking and he saw this boat coming in of fishermen, and they looked kind of down, and he said, oh, what happened? And he said, no fish today. And they said, no, nothing happened today. We didn't catch anything. He said, oh, just go out once more. And they knew of him because they saw him there walking often. So, and they knew he was a different kind of person. Maybe they knew more about him. He was a Swami or whatever. So they went back out, and they came back with tons of fish in the boat. And these are very beautiful stories that just show behind everything, if we tune into God, that God is willing and able to help us. And another very sweet story was Master had some people for an interview one day, and he had this grove of oranges, and they would produce orange juice from there. I think this was out down in Encinitas as well. So he had people visiting, and he wanted to share the delicious juice. And so he told one of the monks, so go get some of the juice. And there were about 10 people there. So the monk went, and then he came back, and he looked kind of not so happy. And so Master said, well, what's happening? So he sort of whispered to him, there's not enough for everybody. Master said, oh, just bring it. It's okay. Just bring it out. So he brought it, and there was like half of a glass of that juice. But Master said, just pour. And he kept pouring, and there was juice, and he kept pouring, there was more juice. He kept pouring. He poured all 10 glasses of orange juice. And Master he never said anything, and nobody really knew what was going on. They just enjoyed the juice. But that monk certainly learned a lot, to tune in to the guru, God's power. What can you do on your own? But open yourself, prepare yourself. And that's one thing I want to add to how do we make things happen. Be prepared yourself. Do as much as you can. Plan, organize, study, whatever you have to do to open yourself to the divine power. And you'll find that it's there. And I'll close with this one last story of Mr. Black, Oliver Black. These are all disciples of Master. And Master had this disciple visiting once in I think this was in Sanitas as well. The master said, told one of the monks, go tell him, let's go for a drive. I want to be with him. So he goes to Mr. Black's room, and Oliver Black, he says it was just absolutely pouring down rain. And he thought, why does he want to go for a drive in this weather? He said, well, he must know what he's doing. So he put his coat on and whatever else his hat, and he walked out the door. And when he walked out the door, I mean, that must have taken a minute, 2 minutes. When he walked out the door, he looked around and he said, the sky was blue, the ground was dry, the car was dry. Everything was beautiful all around him. There was no rain. And Master was standing by the car saying, for you, Oliver. Let's not forget where the real power is coming from, God. And Master would even say, when people would say, no, you're my guru, Master, or people would say, these are your disciples. He says, no, they're God's disciples. And when we would go to Swamiji and say, oh, thank you for, he said, no, Master's helping you. So we have to remember that behind everything, the wind, the stars, the sun, the planets, the moon, the oceans, the rivers, and it's so beautiful. Oh, God, beautiful, that song of Masters. It's God's power that's ever accessible to us as we learn how to draw on it and live in it. I'll ask Natindra to come on screen now. We have just a few questions today.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. So the first question is, if I fail at something that I wanted to do, does that mean God did not help me?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And I think a lot of people feel that, oh, God didn't help me. But I think could be several things. Maybe it wasn't the right project. Maybe it wasn't the right timing. Maybe you didn't have the right group working on it. More so, maybe you weren't prepared, organized enough. Maybe you didn't put out enough energy to make it happen. There are a lot of possibilities there. But I found when something didn't work, it was my responsibility. I couldn't put that on Divine Mother. And there's many different stories, but we don't have time for that right now. But look at yourself first. And what can I do better? How can I improve? Maybe I need to organize myself better, study better, whatever. And you'll find that you get better at it. God is always doing his job. I think it's ours. Like one man said, he said, Master, I can't do it without your help, your blessing. Master said, listen, my blessing's there. God's blessing's there. It's your blessing that's missing. So try from today to add more of your blessing into everything you do. More attunement, more higher consciousness, more energy, more magnetism. And you'll find that things get much, much better and you can succeed.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. The next one is, I know I am good at something and can't get out of that thought. How do I break that thought?
Yeah, I remember a woman who had a beautiful voice at Ananda Village, the most beautiful in the community. And she got into ego, that she sang so beautifully and hers was the most beautiful voice. And she lost her voice for a while. And everyone knew why. If you have a talent, you can lose that talent if you abuse it or not see God as the source of that talent. Or the other side of it is, look at it this way, that you could be a lot better. You might think you're good now, but you could be a lot better. I love this image of, think of the highway, the freeway or the highway. There's a lot of cars behind you. but there's a whole lot of cars in front of you. So there's a lot of people who are much better than you at what you do, but why compete? Just do your best. But soon as you slide into ego, I see those people having a hard time. If it's being a yoga teacher, if it's being a meditation teacher, these are my students. They come to hear me. Oh, I can do this posture better. Let me demonstrate it. This will get you into trouble. Be humble and do your best, but don't go into ego with it.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. We have a couple of live questions.
Okay, great.
The first one is, if a person is stuck in any situation due to which he has to do something that is not right, even though he is not willing to do it, then how can God be a doer in such a situation?
Yeah, that's a misunderstanding that you can pull yourself out of situations. This is what I was saying earlier. Don't passively wait for God to do everything. If you're in a bad situation, you're in a bad situation at work, or you don't have the finances you need to pay your bills, or your health is bad, or your children are suffering from whatever, change it. Talk to Divine Mother, change the situation. And how do you change it? By putting your energy into it. As I told you with the job I had, I got out of that job. I said, I'm leaving this. I do not want to stay here. And so if you want to change a situation, pray to Divine Mother, pray to the masters to help you. Think about, how can I get out of this? Write it out. Put it on your altar. Pray over it. Chant Om. Ask Master. Talk to him every day. Get me out of this situation. How can I get out of this job? How can I get out of this mood that I'm in? Work on it. So what we don't need is passivity. Oh, I'm here, I'm stuck. Stuck? No way. Don't be stuck. Stuck in health problems, stuck in the job, stuck in this. Work yourself. If you can't work yourself out of the situation, and the only way you're going to really do that is work your consciousness up to a higher level. Then you can see, okay, that's not as bad as it was, or this is how I'm getting out. But what I'm saying underneath it all is you have to work at it yourself.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. The next live question is, how to let go of guilt of doing something wrong or hurting someone?
You know, we have the purification ceremony. We haven't been able to do it for a long time, but Swamiji wrote that ceremony where you come before the channel for the masters and you say, I seek purification by the grace of God. They say, the master says, open your heart to me and I will enter and take charge of your life. And then they bless you. And as you leave, at the end of the blessing, they say, by the grace of our masters, you are free. And so you can do a similar ceremony in your own home, just saying something like that. Go in front of your altar and ask the masters to take that karma away, to take that darkness away, to take the guilt away, the pain or whatever it is. To just ask them. You have to put it out to them and then sit and feel in your heart that you are free. And then don't keep carrying it around. If you've been blessed by Guruji, let it go. And guilt and shame, they don't do anything for you. Forget the past, Swami Shri Teswarji said. All lives of all are dark with many shames, but everything will improve if you're making the spiritual effort now. Make the spiritual effort, change your karma, change your consciousness, Change those habits and attitudes. You can do it. But if you go, oh, I'm guilty, I'm bad, I did this and that. Master, when he was at Amy, I can't remember her full name, but a woman minister's church in LA, McPherson, she said, get down on your knees, all of you, you're all sinners, in a Baptist church. And Masters didn't get down. And he looked around and everybody was down on their knees. He said, I'm not going to get down there. I'm not a sinner. So he said, never identify yourself. The greatest sin was sin. He said, the greatest sin is to call yourself a sinner. So call yourself a saint and pull up out of it. If you need to apologize to someone or send them a note or whatever, do it. But don't let your energy go down into a dark space. That won't help you at all.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. We are up on time, but we have one more question which has not been answered. Should we take that?
Okay.
Yeah. So this is, I don't feel I am very good at anything. What can I do to serve God and be a channel for Him?
Yeah, I had this great example that someone asked that. I hope this person is watching because they did a wonderful thing. They asked during the middle of the COVID crisis, well, what can I do? And I said, why don't you just pray for people? There's so many people who are in need. And what a creative mind, because he went online, he put it on Facebook that he was associated with Ananda Sangha. We're doing prayers for people. We're happy to pray for you. Within 3-4 days, he had 1,000 names. That's gotta be the record. 1,000 names. And he and his wife divided those names up between Sangha people praying and everybody, but 1,000 names, my goodness. And so the thing, how do you know what to do to serve? Look at what's in front of you. See if there's anything there. Ask others. And also, I have found, and I'm sure you will find too, as I just start doing something, other things will come. But sitting there with the remote in your hand on the couch isn't going to work. So just get started. And even here's a good example of that. I have to share with you. I bought a trampoline because I don't want to sit on the couch. I'd much rather just keep my energy going, because when your energy is going, once it's going, then you think, oh, I can do this, I can do that. But once the energy is down, then you just don't have any ideas. You just don't. So exercise, energization, seva, yoga postures, getting online like this. The worst thing you can do is nothing. And so start with what you can, and you'll find other things really start coming your way because you become a magnet for them. And otherwise, nothing will be happening but you sitting on the couch with the remote. Okay.